Welcome to another episode of UEN's PDTV. Today we have traveled to Orangeville in Emery County School District to visit with Cottonwood Elementary Principal John Hughes for our very first PDTV Principals Edition.
In Orangeville, we have about 155 students in our school. We have a pre-K program here, which is about 30 of those students. So of the regular student population, we have about 122 students. We have 8 classroom teachers, 2 of which are resource teachers. And then we have about 32 adults that support us. So we have a huge adult population to match our student population, which we're very lucky to have that. Most schools don't have that much adult support, which helps us run a lot of the programs that we run. But one thing that's unique about our school is we host the SOAR program, which in most districts would be called the self-contained program. And it brings students from all the other elementaries in the district except one. We have a school that's 90 miles away, but it's for mild and moderate student needs. And we absolutely love having them here. So we actually host students from pretty much every community in the county. So I think it's my 9th year being principal, my 23rd in education. So I've been around for a minute, and I have just absolutely loved being in this small community. And what I've really learned is, as a principal, especially back in 2017-ish when I became principal, there just wasn't a lot of support for principals. There wasn't a lot of training or leadership help. And when I saw that Leading Schools Conference, a friend and I, she teaches at a school just a few minutes away, we decided we wanted to find a way to better support ourselves as principals. And so we signed up for this 3-day conference. I love that it's 3 days. And I thought, oh, that's a really long conference. But when I got there and got involved in all the activities, I learned that 3 days isn't even enough. It needs to be like 7 days long. But I have enjoyed it. I went 2 years in a row as a participant, and then afterwards was asked to be a mentor. And I really enjoyed that opportunity to be a mentor in leading schools. I think one of the biggest pieces of leading schools that I have appreciated the most, well, there's 2. The design thinking process that allows me to really work through issues that I'm having at a school as an administrator and how to solve those outside of my own thinking. But more so for me, especially being in a rural school and kind of isolated from a lot of things, I got to network with other leaders. And I loved networking with leaders from urban and suburban schools because their solutions and ideas are things I wouldn't think could apply to a rural school, but so many things are so universal that I've just really enjoyed getting to know a lot of people, and I still contact a lot of the people that I've met, both as a participant and as a mentor. So I've gone every year they've had it since 2017.
Stanford University's design thinking process is a big part of the Leading Schools Summit. In this episode, John will share with us how he has used this process to help him tackle challenges at his school.
So design thinking process, and it's really hard to do outside of leading schools, I've decided, because they train us in leading schools on how to support each other. But it's really just a process where you present your struggle, whatever it is you're working with at school, to another person, and they just listen to you. And I love that. I love having someone just listen to what I'm saying, because then when they reflect back what they're hearing, what I've found is that I'm saying things that I didn't realize were the problem, but then we figure out what the real problem is, and it allows you to just really distill down to what the main issue is. And my favorite part of the design thinking process is at the end of that, you hand each other, because you and your partner work together, you hand each other, they call it a gift. And it's a gift of, here's 3 or 4 ideas that you can take and implement in your school. And it's after we've had a chance to really talk through what are the concerns and challenges. And I love that because they're not inhibited by, I can't, or that won't work. They just share what they think would work. And I love taking that and then applying it at whatever level makes sense for me. There are really 4 major things that I've been able to distill out through that process, whether it was just getting springboard ideas, but one of them is we switched to mastery grading or standards-based grading at our school, and that switch was extremely difficult to make. My teachers were 100% on board. We jumped in and realized we didn't understand all of the logistics it takes to switch. And so being able to go through that process a year after trying it and having someone listen to the concerns and then share back ideas really made a difference, and we've really embraced that. We've been standards-based now for 7 or 8 years, and I feel like we're in a really great place with that.
And desert fish. Okay, now we're going to spell it. So it's the
Another one was, how as a principal do I connect with students and teachers? How do I know what's going on in my school? I can tell you almost every name of the student in my school, but I can't always tell you what they're doing academically or socially or all of those things. And so through that process, I created what I call TESS meetings, TESS, or Teaming to Ensure Student Success. It's gone through 1 million revisions over the years, but what we do is I sit down with every teacher, with my special education teachers, the classroom teacher, and myself, and we go through every single student in the school, and we talk about their social needs, their academic needs, their behavioral needs. We talk about, do they need a referral for special education? Do they need, what do they need to be successful? And we do that 3 to 4 times a year. And I love those meetings. It takes 2 days, and I'm in a small school, so I know big schools would have to figure out a way to make that happen. But that has been something that's been very successful that's come from that as well. Also, our blocks program that we run is another one that we have distilled out. Part of mastery learning is you have to have a way to remediate. And that was a really big sticking point for my teachers. When do I do that remediation? And so part of that is we sat down together as a faculty and said, are we willing to give up parts of our day as a whole upper grade and lower grade team to provide remediation? And so over the course of multiple years, we've refined the process down where upper grades do math remediation or blocks, and then our lower grades do phonics blocks. Through that, we can group students. They're very flexible. Each week they're regrouped, or every other week they're regrouped based on the skills that they need. And they are very targeted interventions, and we have seen amazing success with these programs. The kids are getting practice in the things that they aren't understanding in the regular classroom lessons. And my teachers don't have that stress of when am I gonna remediate those students? And so that's been very successful as well.
What just went on in your mind? What happened?
That you would borrow from the whole number.
Good. What were you doing here? Moving it from the mixed number to an improper fraction?
Like here? I
So
don't know, I was adding,
you were adding.
but yeah,
Could you subtract these?
yeah,
And then could you turn it back to a mixed number?
yeah.
Yeah. So I was actually watching you do this thinking, wow, this is something I haven't taught her. I wonder if she'll keep doing it. But then you started adding them together, huh?
Yeah.
Do you want to finish it off, subtracting this, and see if we can get a good answer for it? See if we can get the same one? 13 thirds, take away 5 thirds.
So with all of these new programs, new grading, new blocks, there's got to be a way to help teachers feel prepared and trained in all of these. So is that part of this plan that you developed as well?
It is. I've worked really hard with professional development. I think one of those things that I was really appreciative of in that design thinking process, in a rural area, it is extremely hard to get professional development. People to travel here is extremely expensive. As schools, we try to band together and share costs, but it's still hard. And then when do I do that? When do I pull all my faculty, all my staff together? And so it was great to talk to other leaders about how do they manage that, especially in a rural setting. And I've been able to get a lot of ideas to bring people in, but also to do virtual or digital, or better train myself so that I can be a better support for the teachers themselves as well. We also have PLCs that we run. They're grade level based, so I'm over the 5th grade team in our district. I meet with all the 5th grade teachers once a month, and we look at data and we talk about what do we need to do to help 5th graders be successful, and especially as they move on to the middle school. So we have found a lot of success through our PLC efforts as well. And my teachers' vertical team on those weeks, we vertical teams. So I have my K2 teachers meet together, my 3-5 grade teachers meet together, and my 2 resource teachers meet together, and just talk about common needs within the grade level, whether it's discipline or data, or how do you have ideas to help me, or do my kids really have to know that in 5th grade? Is that really something they have to know? And it's been a really great team building experience. I love how team oriented my faculty and staff are.
You mentioned a little bit of technology use there to get some of these professional learning resources to come to your school. What other technology tools help you as a principal to both, brainstorm these ideas, to give them a try, to implement them, and then of course you have to monitor to see how they're doing? What tools have helped you with all of this?
That's a great question. So one thing we've really enjoyed is finding software that supports like language arts and math. And the way we use that is we don't want it teaching our kids. That's a human's job. But what we want it to do is to cross-check. So a teacher will teach a concept and then assign that concept in the software and check to see if our kids are understanding the content, which has been great. We love the Google Suite. So all of our agendas are Google documents, and that's been really great. We do a lot of Zoom and WebEx and all those things to bring professional development. And one thing that we tried this year that I've really, really loved, Katie, is we've been experimenting with AI, so ChatGPT, and my teachers they were shocked when they could type in, give me a story on a first grade reading level, you know, and so they started playing, and it's simplified for our lives so many things. It'll write a story that's on multiple reading levels for the students, and so it's saving them hours and hours and hours of trying to find content, and they're loving that. So we feel like we've really embraced technology. We're a one-to-one school. Basically, every student has an assigned Chromebook. They're doing research in the classrooms. They're working on their software programs in the classroom. We hope we're really building a tech-savvy generation of students as well as academics.
What I'm seeing here is just this picture of your school community. Looking at student data to start with, it's always centered around the student, but then in order to meet the needs that you found, your faculty, your staff, you've all had to work so hard to learn not only new protocol, new programs, but new software, new tools, and how exciting that they've put in all of that effort to then see results in student success.
Like I said, 40 adults is a lot of adults, and we are a great team. I'll have a lot of people walk in and say, something feels different about your school. And what I love about that is I know it's because my faculty and staff, like you said, we're here first for kids and we look at data. We have data faculty meetings once a month that we just look at data. That's all we do is we look at student data. And it builds out from there. We're here for kids, and so I always tell the teachers, you know, we're here for kids first and adults second. And so what can we do to help the kids be successful and also make sure we're meeting your needs? And how do I best support you and give you the training so that you feel ready and supported to do the things that we're asking ourselves to do? And they're not afraid to step up and do hard things. And sometimes we learn by a lot of trial and error, but in the end, we are very successful here. I really love my faculty and staff.
Well, thank you for sharing so much about what you're doing here. We're excited about the strides that you all are making, and thank you for your great leadership.
No, thank you. I appreciate you coming. It's great to have you here.
Now that you have seen John in action, consider how you can use design thinking to improve your school leadership. The design thinking process has 7 elements: empathize, define, evaluate, ideate, prototype, test, and iterate. Let's start by looking at the first 2 steps, empathize and define. During these steps, you're going to get to know your students, watch and observe. You're also going to work to frame the right problem to find the right solution. Some tools that can help you with this include Google Forms or Canvas quizzes to conduct needs surveys, or Nearpod Collaborate boards and Padlet to gather feedback and ideas. In the next step, you're going to evaluate students' abilities and needs. Again, technology tools can help you with this, such as Canvas and Nearpod assessment tools. You can also utilize Mastery gradebooks and Google Sheets to track student data. The next 2 steps are ideate and prototype. You're going to start by brainstorming, exploring all of the possible solutions to your problem, and then develop a solution you want to try out. Some technology tools that can help you with this include Post-it apps, Google Keep, Google Drawings, Lucidchart, Apple Freeform, and other storyboarding and brainstorming tools to help you generate as many ideas as you can think of. In the next phase of the process, you're going to test your prototype to see if it's going to work well for your school. You'll need to train your teachers, so during this part of the process, you can utilize tools like Canvas to provide professional development opportunities for your teachers, or Zoom to invite PD guests to visit with your faculty. You'll also need to return to all those evaluation tools to determine whether or not your plan is successful. And finally, the last step of the process is iteration. This is where you will return to any steps of the process that you need to revisit or retry things or reevaluate. You can utilize statewide grants like the DTL grant or the PCBL grant to help you fund the solutions that you determine will be best for your school. That can help fund anything from Wi-Fi to Chromebooks to software and so on. For even more strategies, tools, and resources to help you with your school improvement efforts, be sure to visit uen.org/PDTV and visit the toolkit that accompanies this episode. Thanks for watching UEN's PDTV. To access more professional development resources and to schedule a training from UEN, visit uen.org/development. We'll see you next time.